Did Thaís Mendes really get caught cheating and then try to kick Patrick out of his own house? The newly leaked motion unveils the real reason behind her shock arrest and their messy custody battle. Stay tuned.
In a new divorce filing, 90 Day Fiancé, the last resort star Patrick Mendes claims his wife Thaís Mendes had an affair that came to light earlier this year. On or about April 11, 2026, Dad learned that Mom was involved in an affair, reads a motion filed by Patrick's attorneys on Wednesday. The filing also reveals details about what happened between Patrick, Dad, and Thaís, Mom, after he became aware of the infidelity.
After Dad discovered the affair, Mom demanded that Dad move out of the party's home, as she had told her new romantic partner that the parties were already separated and no longer residing together. Apparently, Patrick was reluctant to relocate. Mom thereafter made threats to Dad, leading Dad to officially move out of the marital residence on or about May 6, 2026. A little more than 2 weeks later, Patrick and Thaís got into the altercation that resulted in her arrest for domestic battery. On May 22, 2026, the parties got into an argument that led to Mom getting violent with Dad. The motion states, "During that incident, Mom grabbed a knife and threatened Dad with it, all while holding the child. Dad subsequently contacted law enforcement, and Mom was arrested for domestic violence." The motion reveals the couple have a nanny who witnessed the May 22, 2026 incident. As Starcasm previously reported, the district attorney declined to pursue the charge against Thaís, and it was dismissed. Patrick's motion states he and Thaís reached a custody agreement regarding their 3-year-old daughter, Aleesi. Dad relied upon that agreement and attempted to co-parent with Mom pursuant to the parties' informal agreement. Mom subsequently reneged on the parties' agreement, leaving the parties without a stable parenting schedule. Later in the filing, Thaís's alleged reneging on the informal custody agreement was brought up again. The parties were residing together until their official separation on or about May 6, 2026. Since that time, Dad has attempted to reach a parenting agreement with Mom so that the parties can avoid unnecessary litigation. Even after Mom was arrested due to her domestic violence against Dad, Dad acted in good faith and was able to reach a resolution as to custody with Mom. However, Mom has reneged on the parties' agreement and has ceased any productive communication since retaining counsel. Dad would never withhold the child from Mom and has never done so in the past. Dad is hopeful that once the court sets a fair custodial schedule for the parties, Mom will abide by the court's orders and co-parent with Dad efficiently. Patrick's attorneys argue the court should admonish Mom and inform her that once the court enters its orders, any further withholding will be considered parental abduction. Despite Thaís's alleged affair and defiance of an informal custody agreement, Patrick still requests that they share joint legal and physical custody of Aleesi. Dad believes it is in the best interest of the child for the parties to continue to share joint physical and joint legal custody of the child. Patrick downplays Thaís's arrest and attributes it in large part to the divorce. Although the parties are currently going through divorce and custody proceedings, Dad believes that once the court weighs in and provides the parties with set timeshare, that the parties can absolutely cooperate adequately in order to meet the needs of the child. Dad is dedicated to the child and values his time with her. Dad has always worked with Mom to meet the child's needs. Dad will do whatever it takes to ensure that the child is taken care of and has historically worked with Mom to ensure the child's needs are met. Accordingly, this factor supports Dad's request for joint physical custody. The child is closely bonded to both parents, Patrick's attorneys state, There is no reason the parties should not be able to maintain a strong relationship with the child throughout her minority. Patrick requests that the current parenting schedule remain in place. That schedule has Aleesi with Patrick Wednesday through Sunday and with Thaís Sunday through Wednesday.
Patrick Mendes reveals that he is currently employed as a senior account executive and earns approximately $9,800 per month in gross income. The filing states that Thaís is self-employed, and it won't be clear what her income is until she files a financial disclosure form. Dad fully believes that the parties should be sharing joint legal and joint physical custody of the child. Accordingly, child support should be set pursuant to NAC 425.1153 and NAC 425.1401. In that case, each party's respective income should be utilized to calculate their respective child support obligations. Pursuant to the court entering a joint physical custody order for the parties, the court should set the appropriate amount of child support, with the calculations to be made once both parties have filed their respective financial disclosure forms. Patrick Mendes requests that Thaís Mendes be responsible for paying his attorney's fees if she is unreasonable in her opposition to Patrick's requests. This case should be an easy one for the court and the parties, Patrick's attorneys argue. However, to the extent that Mom opposes the reasonable relief set forth herein, Mom's opposition would be frivolous, and Dad would request that Mom pay 100% of his attorney's fees and costs in this matter. Patrick and Thaís are due back in court on Thursday, August 20, for a case management conference on Thursday, August 20, for a case management conference.